Perfection is unattainable, but that should not stop us from trying to
Every
achieve
single
it.
person should have housing. If there was any system that could guarantee each person housing, whether you call it the abolition of private property or you call it, just a statewide housing guarantee, it is preferable to what is going on right now. And I think that people try and play like gotcha games about these kinds of things, and it's like, look, I care more about whether somebody has a home.
Yeah, I care. It's really easy to say I care when you're spending other people's money, but that little sneaked in, we want to abolish private property, that might work. That's really what's going on.
A lot of people are afraid of the word socialism, and a lot of people have misconceptions about what it means. I'm a democratic socialist, and what socialism means to me is a commitment to dignity.
Okay.
A state that provides whatever is necessary for its people to live a dignified life. So the typical big three that we talk about are housing, healthcare, education. Whether it's childcare, whether it's public transportation, whether it's our utilities, whether it's our housing, whether it's our healthcare, these are not things that should be up for debate.
So just to be clear, here are the things that should not be produced privately and by people, individuals who can make deals with each other, have contracts, invest, and then build capacity to sell things to other people voluntarily. That's all that capitalism is. It's just people doing deals with each other voluntarily. Can't use that system for the important things like healthcare, food, housing, education, transportation, childcare. Kind of all of life. That's kind of the whole enchilada. We can let Apple make us iPhones. Okay. We can let people like his famous mother make movies. Because of course that's going to be a totally free market with very little regulation, and you're free to make billions of dollars if you can pull it off. You can do that. You can be a movie maker, and that can be private. But for everything else, we should have state ownership of the means of production.
Because we see what happens when we let the market be the sole determinant of the distribution of dignity.
Okay. When the market is the sole distributor of dignity. I'm not even sure what he means by dignity, because it sounds like what he means by dignity is a modern 21st century comfortable life. I have a very different notion of dignity, which is fundamental human respect, that I have sovereignty over myself and my body, and you can't just take stuff from me or do things to me because it violates my dignity, my sovereignty as a person. That's not his definition of dignity, because right below the surface of all his free stuff is taking it from other people and then forcing people to do the work, which is why we end up with gulags everywhere, because if you can't make a living being a doctor, not a lot of people go into medicine, and if you keep doing that long enough, you end up needing to conscript people into medicine. The other piece of the puzzle here, I want to just replay this because it's really important.
These are not things that should be up for debate. Because we see what happens when we let the market be the sole determinant of the distribution of dignity.
We see what happens when we let the market be the sole distributor of dignity. What are you talking about? We don't live in an anarcho-capitalist society. Every element of what he's talking about has government involved quite substantially. And the areas where government is involved the most is the areas that are the most broken and the most expensive and have grown the most as a share of income, namely healthcare, education. Those are the two places where government has near total monopolies, and they have outpaced inflation for decades. Housing is next in line, and the financing of housing has been entirely controlled by government regulations and large government entities like Fannie and Freddie, which is an entire other video I could get into. But a lot of what's going on when it comes to housing and housing costs that isn't at the city level, like telling you how many outlets you need to put in and how having 6 months to build an unload-bearing wall. The other piece of the puzzle with housing is that the finance of it is a giant inflationary Fannie and Freddie Federal Reserve scam. So all of that is not the free market being the sole distributor of dignity, whatever. Again, and then there's the next piece of the puzzle here I just think is important to think about when you hear this rhetoric, is this idea of distribution. It smuggles in the Marxist zero-sum model of the world. See, our buddy Karl Marx, all this really is, it's all just Marx. It assumes there pre-exists some pool of wealth. And it's in something like a giant warehouse. And the question is, how will it be distributed? Will it be distributed fairly or unfairly? Equally or unequally? There's no notion of how things get created, of building new things. It's just about distribution. This is essentially a misuse of a term that comes out of statistics. When we talk about the distribution of wealth, the technical meaning is just looking at the way the numbers plot along a graph. But that's not how we as people, not economists and statisticians, hear it. We hear it and think of distribution center, a person or entity making decisions for who gets what. Guest of the show and former Democratic Socialist friendly mayor of New York, Bill de Blasio, who I personally like, but who was a really poor mayor. I'm sorry, Bill, but you weren't good. He had this saying, we have plenty of money, it's just in the wrong hands. Again, the assumption being there's these resources out there and we just need to decide that other people get it than who has it right now. This is the philosophy of theft. It is the philosophy of communism. And that's what we've got going on here. Now, today's communists look a little different than they used to. So they used to be guys like this, guys with scary mustaches, with
chaos surrounds us, but I will gladly show. Don't 30 seconds.
For a daily cancellation day, we must unfortunately turn back briefly to Zoran Mamdani because the fact that a third world
Cosmos full time? Lucky. It is lovely, but it can also be very lonely. For sure, leading Galactus to acorn-covered worlds was a blast, but the battle starts in 5,
No idea what the fuck that means.
3, 2.
Thank you to those so often forgotten by the politics of our city who made this movement their own.
Yeah.
I speak of Yemeni bodega owners and Mexican abuelas.
I think people got mad about this part, right?
Senegalese taxi drivers and Uzbek nurses. Trinidadian line cooks and Ethiopian aunties. Yes, aunties.
That was a real controversy.
To every New Yorker in Kensington and Midwood and Hunts Point, know this.
The thing about white people, I do think that there's definitely a racial component to it. And I think that the amount of racial awareness that people like Zoran are creating, I think it will be an ultimately bad thing. Because once enough people start doing that, and you're already starting to see this happen, is you're starting to see white people play identity politics too. And I don't think that's going to be a good thing for anybody. Like the focus on, I think, identity politics, playing race games and stuff like this, it is a race to the bottom. It is. And wish they include white people on it. It will ruin the country. Yeah, I think it will cause a lot of big issues, right? Because obviously, like, there are a lot of white people in the country. Right? I don't know if they're still the majority in the country, but they're definitely the plurality, right? There's more white people than any other one individual group of people in the country for sure, right? And so if white people start playing identity politics also, it will be very problematic. It will be extremely problematic, and I think it will be bad for everybody. And I don't think anybody, like, it's okay, like, in a general sense, that, like, a population that's, like, an 8% or 15% or something like that is like playing identity politics because it's not a huge amount of people, right? But whenever you have everybody playing this game,
Namor should be ashamed.
I think society will not function in the way that it should. And unfortunately, I think that the amount of people that are discussing, bringing up, and like, you know, trying to, you know, like, oh, Ethiopians and all these other people, and then not mentioning like just average, you know, average Jewish people, average white people, right, that also voted for him, which, by the way, many people did, that were just average Jewish and white people. I think doing that is going to create a radicalizing effect. And I think it's already happening. Like, we might be able to start using identity politics as an excuse for those who are actually racist to express their anger with justification. Well, the people that are actually racist will be the ones that will be doing, that they will basically be, you know, like, for example, how the Democrats created a lot of, like, they basically created a violence apparatus with something like the Tesla burnings, right? That will be the same thing that right-wing people will do once enough like white people identity politics become popular. Is that whenever you do have, you know, like white supremacists going out and doing stupid things and being assholes and committing crimes, instead of putting them in jail and, you know, like immediately saying that they're bad, a lot of these right-wing people, what they're going to do is, because they're playing identity politics, they're going to try to smooth it over and be like, ah, well, you know, it wasn't really this guy, it was something else. And like, oh, well, I don't want to condemn it. People have their different opinions and everything like that, right? Bro, what the fuck? ICE is already doing it. ICE deporting people for being illegally in the country is not the same as white supremacists going out and being violent and committing crime for race-based reasons. It's just not the same thing. I know that you might be on Blue Sky and so you might think the same thing, but it's just not.
This city is your city.
It's not.
And this
Sorry.
democracy is yours too.
Yeah, divide and conquer. Yeah.
This campaign is about people like Wesley, an $11.99 organizer I met outside of Elmhurst Hospital on Thursday night. A New Yorker who lives elsewhere, who commutes 2 hours each way from Pennsylvania because rent is too expensive in this city.
Jesus.
It's about people like the woman I met on the BX 33 years ago, who said to me, I used to love New York.
Yep.
And it's about people like Richard, the taxi driver I went on a 15-day hunger strike with outside of City Hall.
15 days. Holy shit.
Who still has to drive his cab 7 days a week. My brother, we are in City Hall now.
Push fate? Yeah, I don't know about that.
This victory is for all of them. And it's for all of you.
I think that basically this guy is, I think he's capitalizing on the same thing that Trump capitalized on. This is basically just the left-wing version of it.
But I'm trying to bring a
Fundamentally, what he's really saying, I think a lot of you guys pretty much agree with, right? That, like, there are a very small select group of people that are consolidating power inside of the country, and the average person doesn't see the fruits of their labors. This is something that I think a lot of people agree with. Now, you might disagree with his way of solving the problem, but I think that he's correct in diagnosing it.
We are undefeated.
The more than 100,000 volunteers who built this campaign into an unstoppable force.
Yeah.
Because
He's a leftist
of you,
populist.
we will make
Yeah.
this city one
For sure.
that working people can love and live in again.
We'll see.
With every door knocked, every petition signature earned, and every hard
See, that's the shit that Republicans need to do. They need to go out and push that even harder.
conversation, you eroded the cynicism that has come to define our politics.
He hates whites? Oh, I would never vote. As a white person, I would never vote for this. Never. Not in a million years. Even though I agree with him on a lot of these topics, I would never vote for him just very simply because he said he wanted to tax white neighborhoods. No, that's an instant disqualifier from me. I'm a white person. I don't want to have somebody who's going to tax me because of my skin color. It's ridiculous. He never did. He did.
Now I know
Just that? Yeah.
That I have asked for
Yes, just
powers
that.
of mine.
We are
Just that.
undefeatable.
Absolutely.
Much from you over this last year. Time and
Fate
again,
isn't sealed yet.
you have answered my calls. But I have one final request.
I got you covered.
New York City, breathe this
They will
moment
remain
in.
business.
We have held our breath for longer than we know.
I do have to say that I do hope that I hope that it doesn't like go to shit, if you want me to be honest. I do. I mean, there's a lot of people that live in New York. New York is like, you know, the main city that everybody in the world knows America as. I do hope that it doesn't go to shit.
Held it
A lot of people say it will.
defeat. Held it because the air has been knocked out of our lungs too many times to count. Held it because we cannot afford to exhale. Thanks to all of those who sacrificed so much, we are breathing in the air of a city that has been reborn.
We'll see.
To my campaign team, who believed when no one
Elon
else
says
did.
policies be catastrophic. I'm sorry, but I can't really, like, I mean, I get that, like, and I like Elon, but, like, a lot of rich people are going to say that the guy that wants to tax rich people has bad policies. Like, I mean, I think there's a little bit of a bias there, right?
And who took
You know,
an
like,
electoral project and turned it
a
into
bit of a
so
bias.
much more. I will never be able to express the depth of my gratitude. You can sleep now.
Keep up the momentum.
To my parents, Mama and Baba, you have made me into the man I am today. I am so proud to be your son.
Feeling stronger.
And to my incredible wife, Rama, Hayati, there is no one I would rather have by my side in this moment and in every moment.
Lucky guy.
To every New Yorker, whether you voted for me, for one of my opponents, or felt too disappointed by politics to vote at all, thank you for the opportunity to prove myself worthy of your trust. I will wake each morning with a singular purpose: to make this city better for you than it was the day before. There are many who thought this day would never come.
That's again the reason why people voted for him is not for some fucking like abstract political play or whatever. They want him to make their everyday lives better. A lot of young people voted for him because their life sucks and they want to just change it in whatever way they can.
Who feared that we would be condemned only to a future of less. With every
Mayors can't do that?
consigning us simply to more of the
I think that there is a very likely outcome that him taking. I think this is if you want my prediction, you know, we can clip this and go back to it, you know, after he's done being mayor. I think that what's going to happen is that he's going to become the mayor. I think that he will probably get 1 or 2 out of the 10 policies that are like his top 10 passed. I think that he'll look at those kind of as a W, and then otherwise he'll probably get blocked, you know, sued in lawsuits, in some other form of funding dispute. There's some other sort of legal reason, and a lot of the other things he probably won't actually be able to do. And I think that people who support him will say that he was being like effectively like suppressed, and people that are against him would say that, hey, look at this, we tried this and it didn't work. I think that's probably what's going to happen. Again, like just overall, I think that's it. Very pessimistic view.
I have risen.
Yeah, so same as everyone's. Yeah, I don't think things are going to change. So leftist Trump? Yeah. Yeah, that's what I think is going to happen. Yep.
And there are others who see politics today as too cruel for the flame of hope to still burn.
Just being realistic. That's what I think is going to happen.
Answered those fears.
But we'll see.
Tonight we have spoken
Wrong
in
song.
a clear voice. Hope is alive.
How likely is it a
Hope
Mossad
is a
agent?
decision that
This guy's
tens
Mossad.
of thousands of New Yorkers made day after day. Volunteer shift after volunteer shift, despite attack ad after attack ad.
You'll need a top
More than 1 million of us stood in our churches, in gymnasiums, in community centers, as we filled in the ledger of democracy. And while we cast our ballots alone, we chose hope together. Hope over tyranny. Hope over big money and small ideas. Hope over despair. We won because New Yorkers allowed themselves to hope that the impossible could be made possible.
Sure.
And we won because we insisted that no longer would politics be something that is done to us. Now it is something that we do.
I think there's a lot of there's an undertone of this too that is also like, it's kind of what I said before about like young people, where a lot of young people feel like they're disenfranchised from politics because politics is somehow still controlled by baby boomers. And because of that, I think that a lot of young people feel like you have these older politicians that are writing checks that they're never going to have to cash, while young people don't have any power. So there's a lot of people that voted for this guy, absolutely, because like one of the big reasons why is because he's a lot younger. Like if this guy was, let's say, like 70 years old, I don't think he would have gotten the same motion that he did. Now, he might have still won, and it might have been differently successful, but I don't think it would have been the same type of success. And I think this type of success was driven also by the fact that it is one of the first times where a very young person like this has taken office in an area. What do you consider young people? In politics, under 50. In in politics, under 50.
Standing before you, I think of the words of Jawaharlal Nehru. A moment comes but rarely in history, when we step out from the old to the new, when an age ends and when the soul of a nation long suppressed finds utterance. Tonight we have stepped out from the old into the new.
You guys have to admit, if none of these policies actually go through for whatever reason, this speech is going to look pretty bad.
So let us speak now with clarity and conviction that cannot be misunderstood about what this new age will deliver and for whom. This will be an age where New Yorkers expect from their leaders a bold vision of what we will achieve, rather than a list of excuses for what we are too timid to attempt.
Yep, see? It's exactly, that's what people are mad about, for sure.
Central to that vision will be the most ambitious agenda to tackle the cost of living crisis that this city has seen since the days of Fierro LaGuardia. Born again!
See how many people are cheering for that?
An agenda that will freeze the rents for more than 2 million rent-stabilized tenants. Make buses fast and free.
I agree with making buses free. I don't agree with why he wants to make them free. I hate the idea that you want to make buses free because people will be criminals and they'll commit crime if they aren't free. I think that is like such a horrible mentality to have, but I do think I'd be fine with public transportation being free. Does that make sense? The logic behind it. Free but safe? Yeah, exactly. They shouldn't be free? I mean, I don't know. I think they should. I mean, we could just, yeah, could just pay for it. It can't run for free? Well, obviously not. You pay taxes. If you'll pay taxes, and that's the way you do it.
And deliver universal childcare across our city.
That'd be a lot. If he delivers on just that, that would be insane.
Years from now,
that would be crazy.
May our only regret be that this day took so long to come.
And that's also another thing that young people care about a lot. Like childcare is something that I would say under 40s is like, that's, at least with kids, right? That's probably like a top 3 issue for them.
Age will be one of relentless improvement. We will hire thousands more teachers. We will cut waste from a bloated bureaucracy. We will work tirelessly to make lights shine again in the hallways of NYCHA developments where they have long flickered.
Man.
Safety and justice will go hand in hand as we work with police officers to reduce crime and create a department of community safety that tackles the mental health crisis and homelessness crises head on. Excellence will become the expectation.
I think that's a good idea, by the way, is to have people that are trained specifically in dealing with certain types of people. Like having police officers be a Swiss Army knife for every single person with a problem is just you're just waiting for a mistake to happen.
Across government, not the exception.
Yeah, there should be a spectrum.
In this new
Specialists?
age we
Yeah.
make for ourselves.
Smart.
We will refuse to allow
They want no
those who
police? I don't believe that.
in division
Ridiculous.
and hate to pit us against one another. In this
I
moment,
don't really think that, like, I mean, division and hate, like, I mean, whenever you're giving thank you to people and then you're doing it based off of like race or something like that, I think that just bringing that up at all creates division. I think it does.
of political darkness, New York will be the light.
Or villain. I'm not judging.
Here, we believe
He's
in standing
overpromising?
up for
Yeah, I
those
think he
we
is.
love.
I think so.
Whether you are an immigrant, a member of the trans community, one of the many black women that Donald Trump has fired from a federal job, a single
Black people, black women all work at the federal government, okay?
mom still waiting for the cost of groceries to go down,
Yeah.
or anyone else with their back against the wall. Your struggle is ours too.
My perspective, like, like with the trans stuff and everything, like I heard that they were talking about like paying for trans surgeries. I don't think the government should be in any role for paying for, you know, any sort of like gender reassignment surgery. Like that should have to come out of a person's own pocket. I mean, I think if somebody wants to go through it, they should be able to go through it. But like taking somebody's tax dollars and then assigning it to that, I don't think that's fair. That's a bit too much. It's cosmetic. Yeah, it's basically cosmetic surgery. I mean, and under the logic, like here's the problem, right? Is that there's a lot of people that don't like the way that they look in one way or another, and they want plastic surgery, and if they don't get it, they're going to hate themselves. I think fundamentally, being trans is another version of that. And I don't think you should pay for people's plastic surgery. So you shouldn't pay for people's like gender reassignment surgery. It's a waste of money. Yeah, and also like, I mean, it would be one thing if we were already able to pay for, you know, people's, everybody's insulin. We're already able to pay for everybody's, you know, like child care, everybody's, you know, like 50 other things, right? You know, like cancer costs and stuff like that. But like, how is it that like that is something that you're going to emphasize paying over things that are like, you know, much more serious, like cancer, for example? You see what I'm saying? Hair transplants? Yeah. Yeah, it's like, I don't think you should be, yeah, there should not be government funding for hair transplants. Obviously, right? You could for insulin. It's actually it's not actually expensive. Yeah, well, I'd be okay with that. But like my point is that gender reassignment surgery being paid for by the government is like at the very bottom of the totem pole for like universal free healthcare. Like you've got to go through, you know, pediatric care, you know, pregnancy care. You've got to go through elder care. You've got to go through cancer care. And if you go through all of those and you still have some money left over, then maybe we can talk about it. But that should definitely not be at the top of the list. Totally illogical.
And we will build a city hall.
Oh, that's more expensive?
Steadfast.
Yeah, I know.
Alongside Jewish New Yorkers and does not waver in the fight against the scourge of anti-Semitism. Where the more than 1 million Muslims know that they belong. Not just in the 5 boroughs of this city, but in the halls of power. No more will New York be a city where you can traffic in Islamophobia and win an election.
I think this will definitely radicalize people. This type of language will, for sure. Because, like, you can't go and shout out, you know, Jews and Muslims and not say anything about Christianity and then imply that you're not going to be able to win because of Islamophobia. You are absolutely going to radicalize people with stuff like this. 100%. For atheists? Yeah.
This new age will be defined by a competence and a compassion that have too long been placed at odds with one another.
And I think also this is another big issue is that a lot of you guys that lived through, you know, like you're around my age, you remember what it was like whenever we had to play by the rules of Christian identity politics? Where, you know, Grand Theft Auto was getting banned, Marilyn Manson was turning kids into gay Satanists, and Metallica wasn't, you know, like Metallica was also for, you know, the devil. I don't want to have to live through that again. I don't. But I think that the more that, you know, Muslims or Jewish people or anybody of any religion really starts creating identity movements and attaching political movements to that religious identity, I think that we will probably start seeing a reflexive action from Christians that are doing it as the opposite. I think that's what's going to happen. Because, like, it's kind of like I said about white people, right? It's like, you know, obviously Christians are not going to let Jewish people and Muslims just play identity politics and not do it themselves. Of course they're going to start doing it. And there are a lot of Christians in the country. Which will, again, I do not want to have to deal with that again. And it's unfortunate that it seems like we will.
We will prove
so annoying.
that there is no problem too large for government to solve and no concern too small for it to care about.
I saw a lot of people that were pretty upset about there's no concern too small for the government to care about. It's like, oh no. No, like, I don't know, like, it sounds good, but, man, sometimes the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right?
For years, those in City Hall have only helped those who can help them. But on January 1st, we will usher in a city government that helps everyone. Now, I know that many have heard our message only through the prism of misinformation. Tens of millions of dollars have been spent to redefine reality and to convince our neighbors that this new age is something that should frighten them. As has so often occurred, the billionaire class has sought to convince those making $30 an hour that their enemies are those earning $20 an hour.
Based, by the way. Totally agree with this one.
They want the people to fight amongst ourselves.
Completely
so that
agree with this one.
Distracted from the work of remaking a long broken system.
This is, as I said, you know, I was 80-20 with this guy. 80 against 24. This is the 20.
We refuse to let them dictate the rules of the game anymore. They can play by the same rules as the rest of us.
The real enemies are making $5 an hour.
We will usher in
Those are the
a
illegals, so yeah.
generation of change. And if we embrace this brave new course, rather than fleeing from it, we can respond to oligarchy and authoritarianism with the strength it fears, not the appeasement it craves.
I think that these people are just another brand of authoritarianism at their peak. Authoritarianism is when somebody else controls the reins of power.
After all, if anyone can show a nation betrayed by Donald Trump how to defeat him, it is the city that gave rise to him. And if there is any way to terrify a despot, it is by dismantling the very conditions that allowed him to accumulate power. This is not only how we stop Trump, it's how we stop the next one.
See, I like that you said that, because that's the one you're really gonna have to worry about. I think that there's a lot of conservatives and people that are Republicans that are angry at Trump for not being more extreme. Like, you definitely have some people that are like, oh my God, the raids are too much, they're too bad, you shouldn't do mass deportations. But you have some other people. They have a bit of a different view on this. And it's really the next one or the one after that. Those are the ones you really got to worry about.
So Donald Trump, since I know you're watching,
yeah,
I have 4 words for you. Turn the volume up.
that's clever. Jesus.
We will hold bad landlords to account because the Donald Trumps of our city have grown far too comfortable taking advantage of their tenants. We will put an end to the culture of corruption that has allowed billionaires like Trump to evade taxation and exploit tax breaks.
I don't know how you're going to do that. Like, I'm sorry. I like the idea of this. This sounds really good, but I don't know how a mayor of New York is going to do this. I don't.
We will stand
I don't know.
alongside unions and expand labor protections because we know, just as Donald Trump does, that when working people have ironclad rights, the bosses who seek to extort them become very small indeed. New York will remain a city of immigrants, a city built by immigrants, powered by immigrants, and as of tonight, led by an immigrant.
That was a good one. I wish, can you please fucking distinguish between legal and illegal immigrants? If somebody's here illegally, I think it does a really big disservice to people like him, honestly, whenever you're saying, like, yeah, both bad. Well, I think one's definitely worse than the other, right? Like, I don't want to argue about legal immigration, but, you know, I think you really should definitely look at it. Immigrants illegal? Yeah. That's what he meant, hopefully. I don't know.
So hear me, President Trump, when I say this. To get to any of us, you will have to get through all of us.
I am bored. We have done it.
When we enter City Hall in 58 days, expectations will be high.
Only 58 days left in the year?
We will meet them.
All right. I'm ready to see this.
Said that while you campaign in poetry, you govern in prose.
Amazing Spider-Man!
If that must be true, let the prose we write still rhyme, and let us build a shining city for all. And we must chart a new path, as bold as the one we have already traveled. After all, the conventional wisdom would tell you that I am far from the perfect candidate. I am young, despite my best efforts to grow older. I am Muslim. I am a democratic socialist.
That's what gets the cheers.
And most damning of all, I refuse to apologize for any of this.
That it?
If tonight teaches us anything, it is that convention has held us back.
Fuck you guys, fuck you guys, fuck.
Okay. Where was it? Whoa, wait, let me pause. Let me go back. Overall, I think that was a pretty good speech. It was. I think he did a really great job. Like, in terms of, like, delivering it and everything, and everybody was going along with it, I thought it was really good. He did a great job. I didn't agree with a lot of it, But he's a good talker. He is. He's a great talker. And yeah, it's clever. And got him. And he's charismatic. Yeah, he does a pretty good job. People have lost their minds. Yeah, of course people have lost their minds because they don't have any fucking money. They don't have any fucking money. They feel like they're being ignored by the political system, and they don't see any light at the end of the tunnel. So yeah, of course they're fucking mad. Absolutely they are. 100%. I don't agree with a lot of policies, to be honest. He's based. I don't dislike him. I dislike a lot of things. Like, disliking a person, I generally try to avoid. I just look at, like, what different things people are, like, doing or not doing. Trump got elected for the same reason. Yeah, I think this guy is basically like a miniature left-wing version of Trump I think that if you did a Venn diagram of the people that get motivated to vote for somebody like Trump and the people that get motivated to vote for somebody like Zoran, I think that would be a much closer circle than you would imagine. Or those circles would be much closer than you would imagine. I do. I think that this is actually very similar. Someone Dami blocked Hassan from entering. I think that was a mistake, but I'm not sure. The mirror opposite? Yeah. And I do. Because, and again, the reason why, false. Okay. All right. Think whatever you want. Think whatever you. I don't need to. I don't like convincing people. But I'll just explain it like this. This guy, voting for this guy, is like saying fuck you to every single person that has been in office, that is in office, and all of the policies that currently exist. It's a big fuck you. The same as Trump was. People that are disaffected, that feel like the government doesn't care about them, and they want to be represented, they will go after guys like this or guys like Trump, and they will go with them. It's not that much different. It's a different flavor, but they're both ice cream. That's all I'm saying. I know people might not want to hear that. But in time, people will realize it justifies what they want to do. They don't really think that, none of them really think any of this stuff. You've got to keep that in mind. This is very important for you to remember, is that all of the people that are advocating for and saying this stuff, trying to say, oh, but what about this, what about that? None of that is logical. It's not about being logic or anything like that. They're just trying to justify why it's okay for them to be violent, and they're trying to run a smokescreen for people that are violent for causes that they agree with. That's ultimately what the goal is. So don't try to look for logical consistency, because that's not the basis of their logic. The basis of their logic is making a power play and then trying to subvert your own logic and use your values against you, such as freedom of speech or something similar to that, and then make you allow them to be violent to you. That's what their goal is.
Country and what it can be. And
it's never been about freedom of speech. It's never been about officer accountability. It's always been about making and creating a situation where they can control the narrative and they can do what they want to do. That's what the goal is. Never fall into the trap of assuming that they have good intentions. They don't.
To see it, get it.
Thank you, Mr. President. You said you were able to get this deal done and so many others because of tariffs. Yesterday at the Supreme Court, the case being heard, the justices expressed some skepticism. What is your plan if they end up making a decision that's not in your favor?
Well, I'd rather discuss that later. I hope we're going to win that case. I think it's one of the most important cases in the history of the country. What the heck are you talking about, kid?
You are the Winter Soldier, aren't
So
you?
much evolves around tariffs as a defensive mechanism for our country, as national security for our country. So I don't want to really discuss a ground truth. This is so important. If you look at China, and I covered this yesterday, but if you look at China, by putting a large 100% tariff over and above the tariffs they already paid, and they came to the table, they talked, we made a wonderful deal for everybody. Our farmers, as you know, with the soybeans at levels that nobody's ever seen before, we were able to make phenomenal deals. If we didn't have the tariffs, we wouldn't have been able to do that. So we thought we did very well yesterday. We hope that we did. I think it would be devastating for our country. But I also think that we'll have to develop a game-through plan. We'll see what happens. Most people tell me we did very well legally.
Mr. President, are you moving forward with any new tariff announcements or a decision from the Supreme Court?
This is the best one. And we can do other things, but they're slow by comparison. You know, like an example with the 100%. I was able to do it instantaneously when we were threatened by the rare earth, the magnet. And I did it instantaneously. It was a matter of seconds. And it was a matter of seconds that I got a phone call. Let's work this out. We would have had not nearly the defense that we had. It would be a shame. It would be somewhat catastrophic. I don't want to get too much involved in what we've done. You know, we're taking in hundreds of trillions of dollars. If you take a look at the numbers we have $17 trillion right now. We're going to be at $21 trillion, about $21 trillion by the time I finished my first year. Biden, as an example, the Biden administration was at less than $1 trillion for 4 years. We're going to be at $21 trillion for 1 year. In the history of the world, there's never been a country that's done that. Not China, not the U.S., not anybody. And a lot of that is because of the tariffs and the fact that the president is a competent president that knows how to use them. And I use them for national defense. I ended, of the 8 wars I ended, I would say 5 or 6 were ended because if you take a look at India and Pakistan, they started to fight. They're 2 nuclear nations and they're shooting each other. It was 7, now it was 8. The one that was sort of shut down is now abandoned. And 8 planes were shut down. And I said, listen, you guys are going to fight. I'm going to put your hands on you. And they both went in. They were not happy about that. And within 24 hours, I settled the war. If I didn't have tariffs, I wouldn't be able to settle the war. So it's great national defense. And you have to be quick movers. You can't wait around for months and months while you're doing studies and you're doing all of this, or go back to Congress. Look at Congress. We can't even get a continuation from Congress. Look at that. Our guys have to go back to Congress. And you have to do the spur of the moment. Because just so you understand, we're hit spur of the moment. You know, other countries that raised tariffs, absolutely, they would have destroyed us. If I didn't come along, our country would be destroyed right now. The tariffs have made us rich in terms of national security. They've made us secure. And you know, if you have economic strength, that's also, if you have a lack of economic strength, that's national security also. But we have great national security because of those tariffs. So I think it would be devastating if we lost that ruling.
But before the Supreme Court issues a ruling, it could be several weeks. Are you going to lay out any new additional tariffs before?
I'm going to hopefully win.
like a diamond.
I can't imagine that
But your soul is
anybody
so
would
empty.
do that kind of devastation to our country.
Obviously, you've been
You know, we have to
speaking
pay
my
back
therapist.
trillions of dollars. We've taken in trillions. We haven't taken in billions. We've taken in trillions of dollars. We've made trade deals based on that give us, as an example, European Union, $950 billion. Japan, $650 billion. South Korea, $350 billion.
This is the realm of
Without this, we're not talking about that kind of money. And they're okay, they're satisfied, they love us. I just left. They all love us. So it's not like we're such bad people. But they were doing it to us until I came along. Now they don't do it to us, we do it to them a little bit. But if they took this away, we would be defenseless against tariffs from other countries. This is what Good question.
Absolutely. Many Americans keep their insurance through commercial markets. The companies prices right down on GLP-1s, and our companies continue to negotiate prices down based on volume, just as they do in any other business. Another really interesting thing we're seeing, though, is that commercial plans and PBMs increasingly are enabling access for their beneficiaries, their patients, to make purchases in the cash market and then still receive coverage under their deductibles. So we're building that capacity. Absolutely, Trump RX is being built on just that.
Americans that report tremendously positive results from these drugs. What real-world impact do you think this will be? Is there an estimate on how many Americans may now take these drugs? And also about the informed consent on side effects. There are lawsuits against these companies that some people experience damage to their gut health, vision loss, and other potentially serious side effects there. So how will we ensure Americans are able to make the best choice of the rate versus
Well, I'll let them speak about the side effects, but I've heard about very little side effects with respect to these drugs. I mean, it's all positive, and that's usually not the case. I mean, usually you hear bad things. You see these crazy commercials on television where they tell you 15 different things that can go wrong, and then you're supposed to buy it. Very few, but I'll let you handle that.
At a high level, 1 in 3 people who can hear my voice are eligible.
Supplies at last.
Magnitude of impact. And we believe, just to reemphasize, we will actually save the American taxpayer money if people use these drugs appropriately for the durations for which they're indicated. There are always going to be side effects. If anything strong enough to help you is strong enough to hurt you. The question is the trade-off worth it? We know the ravaging risks of obesity and all downstream issues ranging from diabetes and hypertension to renal failure, dementia, heart disease, my specialty. I'll ask Dave Rich from Lilly to maybe start off, because he can give an honest appraisal of potential risks people should be aware of. There's no free cheese.
Thank you. I mean, today, as you may know, there's about 8 million people benefiting from the two companies' medications. This new announcement will make that 10 million that could benefit. So it's a huge improvement, but as the previous question, we need commercial plans and other insurers to step into this arrangement. I think probably both companies will work hard to make sure that happens. Yeah, as Dr. said, no drug can help you, has no side effects. Most of them are well known. We've been using this class of medications for nearly 20 years, and that's why it's important that patients go to their doctor and decide together whether this is right for them, and their doctor knows their medical history and has the information about it. But we're confident in the safety, but there's always some precautions we should have, and people's own medical histories matter in that decision.
And are there any estimates?
You captured more than half of the mission area. Keep
What I would like to say is also that, of course, in my speech I made a comment that what happened today allows us to provide medications to millions and millions more than they are getting it today. Today, a lot of those patients are trying to go out there and take the knockoff versions of these medications, mainly because they were cheaper than our ones. With the reduction of the price, hopefully many of these patients don't need to choose their safety over their wallet, and now are able to find the real thing at a very decent price. But on the other hand, of course, patients have to be able to afford it. So it has been also our job to make sure that affordability.
Are the knockoffs
The API, the raw ingredient that goes into them, are not FDA approved. So nothing is as good as the original.
No, I know that.
Yesterday in the Supreme Court, Chief Justice Roberts said that tariffs and taxes should be paid by citizens, and yet you're saying that this money is rolling in from other countries. How do you square those?
News is coming in because they've charged us. You know, those same countries that you talk about are charging us massive amounts of money. If you look at the tariffs over the years that were put on our heads, there's a reason we're $38 trillion owed. Now that money's going to start coming down. But we had presidents that didn't know how to use tariffs. We had presidents that had no understanding of business. But if you take a look at what's happened to us, every country charges tariffs. China.
Hassan Piker went mask off. Senators are calling him out. Zoran Mamdani just became the new mayor of New York City. Woohoo! Whoopee to everyone that doesn't like swastikas drawn on schools and of Jews and stuff like that. That happened already. So Hassan Piker went mask off.
Done. What do you think it means that this guy ran as a socialist and anti-communism didn't work to stop him? That's big.
Yeah, I think we are in the heart of the imperial core. This is the country that defeated the USSR, unfortunately.
Unfortunately defeated the USSR. You are a radical communist. You need to be deported. Get out of my country. Ted Cruz says, this is what happens when you let communists win. And he's right. Bro, unfortunately defeated the USSR? Why are you here? So this dude hates communists, obviously. He hates them to such an insane degree. I mean, he hates capitalists. He hates billionaires. That's what the whole Zoran Mamdani campaign is about. That's what the Hassan campaign is about. Billionaires bad. But obviously it didn't stop Zoran Mamdani from taking a very fat check and donation from Alex Soros, the son of George Soros, a billionaire. Obviously, that they didn't care about. Hassan Piker calling for communist revolution in America and the murder of senators. That's fine. Really glad we're on the same page. Hassan Piker also got mega humiliated. He tried to get into Zoran's party, but they didn't let him in.
I do not have you for the upstairs list.
Okay. I do not have you for the upstairs list. They refuse to let him into Zoran's party because they actually are probably trying to stay away from terrorists in general. They don't really want it. They probably think that having dog abusers in the party is not actually a super good thing. Now, Zoran Mamdani posted a video after winning the election in New York. This is the first video he posted.
Good morning, New York City. Thank you. Last night we made history. Today we begin the work of making a new administration. Welcome to the transition. This is a period over the next few months where we build a city hall that delivers on the promises of our campaign. To make New York City affordable and to make government accountable to the people it serves.
Whatever that means.
As we prepare to govern, we'll start announcing the leaders who will help implement our agenda.
Whatever this
People like
means.
deputy mayors who oversee entire areas of government. And
none of them are going to be white.
Critical work of city agencies. These appointments will be driven by excellence, integrity, and hunger to solve old problems with new solutions. Talking to organizers on the front.
He's not giving any solutions.
Friends with proven track records, policy experts from around the country and the world.
All right, as a policy expert, communism never worked.
And this will be a period, like the campaign we ran and the city hall to come, defined by transparency. Because New Yorkers deserve a government they can trust. On January 1st, I will be your mayor.
Nice.
New Year's Day.
Nice.
And a new era.
It's gonna be awesome.
Oh,
gonna
and
be great.
one.
Get ready.
Remember how I told you a few months ago to stop sending us money? You can start again.
That was the purpose of this entire video. He makes this video basically saying, we're going to do all the things that we promised. I'm not going to tell you how because I don't really know how, but we're going to hire all sorts of really good guys to do the things that we promised to do. I really need you to donate a lot of money because ultimately that's the only way we're actually going to give free money to the people and the illegals in our nation. Like, we need to give money to the illegals. That's what we promised. So we need you to give me the money to give that money to the illegals. That's communism, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to communism. Please donate the money, and if you don't, we will take it by force. Communism, ladies and gentlemen. New Palestine, also known as Neo New York, is definitely shaping up. Now, that is the first major update. Second major update, my community's yeshiva, a Jewish day school in Brooklyn where I taught years ago, was vandalized on the night of Zoran Mamdani's victory, covered in swastikas all over it. All over the Jewish school. So obviously this is going super well. This is going really well. Zoran Mamdani, of course, decided to make some posts. This is disgusting and heartbreaking act of anti-Semitism. It is no place in our beautiful city. As mayor, I will always stand steadfast with our Jewish neighbors to root out the scourge of anti-Semitism out of our city. Didn't Mamdani defend the phrase from the river to the sea and globalize the Intifada? Grok, can you confirm? Yes, Zoran Mamdani has declined to condemn from the river to the sea and globalize the Intifada. Thank you, Grok. Very cool. Imagine that they're going to start vandalizing Jewish schools and cover them with swastikas. Well, color me surprised and shocked. Arr, matey, I didn't see that coming whatsoever. Well, now that New York is becoming Neo-Palestine, I am really glad that we are on the cutting edge of society. Now, everyone, I have the hottest take of all time. deserve this. We deserve this line. We literally put up retards to fight against Zoran Mamdani. We are not solving the issue in society that people can't afford houses. And realistically, this, and most importantly, we didn't deport the motherfuckers that invaded our nation fast enough. I'm sorry, we absolutely did not. These people, he won the vote because they imported illegals. Those guys voted with no ID, and they managed to prop them up. All right, now we watch New York burn for our mistakes, and hopefully we learn from this for the future. Because I'll be real here, you have to recognize when you fuck up, we fucked up. This is a total us blunder. No doubt in my mind that this is us fucking up. And we have to learn from our mistakes. Alright, God gives us challenges we can overcome. Anyway, I wanted to take a look at this debate. So, Piers Morgan just had a whole panel on debating over Zoran Mamdani. I have a lot of opinions, and it's going to be amazing. It's going to be absolutely diabolical. So, let's see what we actually have. Alright, let's see what we actually have here. A big debate about if Zoran Mamdani is good or not between all the retards and all the sides. So lock in, boys and girls. It's gonna be fun.
Donald Trump, turn the volume up!
If you told me 20 years ago that New York City would elect a mayor who is a Muslim guy, a terrorist sympathizer, who is anti-cop, I would laugh in your face.
Do you believe the NYPD is racist?
Yes! Oh, God. There it is.
Free buses, free...
Bro, got the woke stooges, bro. Bro, they gotta put a burqa on the Statue of Liberty immediately.
Universal child care. All these policies are wildly popular.
All that cool...
Dude, they're only popular because we have a retarded... Like, you have to understand you have to understand the evil that we had to deal with. They imported illegals and non-Americans as an underclass of society to vote for this guy. He's an immigrant that was voted for by immigrants and by liberal white women who were radicalized by colleges with empathy for retards. And to make it worse, the politicians he was fighting against were all retarded. So this was like an actual disaster situation.
Who's gonna pay for it? Who's gonna pay for it? Venezuela, Cuba, Soviet Union. Give me an example.
Yeah, communism never worked.
And hold on, I'll come with you. I'm all in.
New York will remain a city of immigrants as of tonight, led by an immigrant.
Basically, I hate white guys. We're conquering your nation. Sit down and enjoy.
Every American that's watching this, don't get it twisted.
Okay,
the moment a Democrat comes into power, the border's wide open.
I think
he's right. He's completely right.
The loser last night isn't the Republican Party. It's actually the American people. You were entertained by 2020 and a little bit scared about 2024. 2028 is going to be like The Godfather 2.
He's right. 2028, it might be the last election, depending on which way it goes. Because the strategy is very obvious now. The strategy is go into power, open the borders, flood the country with illegals, have them vote, and never, ever have a nation ever again. That is the strategy, and it worked in New York, and they're going to try their best to make it countrywide. That's how they tried to conceal the 2024 election. It's not even controversial at this point. They have no voter ID. The communists elect themselves.
For the first time in a long time, Democrats are waking up to that winning feeling. It's not quite a political earthquake. It's definitely a sizable tremor. And the epicenter is right here in New York City, where I am at the moment. Zoran Mamdani is the newly minted mayor of America's biggest city, and the 34-year-old socialist wasted no time in aiming his firepower at President Donald Trump.
So Donald Trump, since I know you're watching, 4 words for you. Turn the volume up.
Remember when they told us to turn down the temperature? Do you remember that?
Well, Mayor Mamdani's socialist program is about to have an uncomfortable brush with reality. The jury is very much out.
That guy is your president. Insurrectionist. Bitch. Anyway, I'm excited to see where this goes. Hopefully, this radicalizes Trump a little bit and makes Trump actually start jailing criminals. Now, for the record, I don't think there's anything wrong with hating Trump or anything like that. But if you are preventing ICE agents from deporting illegals, you need to go to jail.
From where they can really deliver on government.
Sounds to me like this guy is fucking around. You know, after
run grocery stores, free buses, and free childcare, among many other.
There's no such thing as free. Free is a scam. It's a fake word. All right. I'm just telling you this right right now, nothing is free. If it's free, it means either you're the product or someone else is paying for it. Nothing is free.
Lavish pledges, but the verdict on his campaigning
free means the taxpayers pay so that the illegals can get free rides. All right, that's what free means.
style is resounding, and Democrats nationally will be taking notes. President Trump may call him a crazed communist, but he knows a canny operator when he sees one. Mamdani ran a populist campaign turbocharged by social media which focused on massive changes to a failing status quo. All very familiar to the man currently in the White House. And Mamdani is the first prominent Democrat that feels like an age campaign of something other than calling Trump a demonic fascist. So has Mamdani cracked the code?
Unfortunately, I think he has cracked the code. That's why I think AOC is probably going to be the presidential nominee in 2028. I really think it's going to be her. At this point, if I had to pick one, my guess is it's going to be AOC. But the reality is, the left is completely giving in to the radical left. The radical left is absolutely taking over, like to a massive extent. A massive extent. And you can't understate the fact that Zohran Mamdani was a radical leftist. He went up against a traditional leftist, Cuomo, and obliterated him. And it's becoming really obvious.
Democratic revival, or could his individual triumph drag the party down a far left rabbit hole to electoral oblivion? Joining me to debate on this on a massive night in US politics is PBD podcast anchor and patriot Vincent Montana, co-host of Her Take, from the Democratic strategist Lindy Lee, the host of 10 News, Martin Hill, and the journalist at the Grey Zone, Aaron Martin. Let me start with you, Vinny. You must be absolutely delighted that a self-declared socialist is now in charge of New York City.
Piers, being originally from Yonkers, New York, it's just, it's overwhelmingly just happy. Piers, if you told me, Piers Morgan told Vincent Oshana 20 years ago that New York City...
Why are you mentioning 20 years ago? Is it because 9/11 happened around 20 years ago? By the fact that you bring this up, clearly you don't care about Zohran Mamdani's aunt, who was the biggest victim of the 9/11 terror attack.
Would elect a mayor who is a Muslim guy, who is a terrorist sympathizer, who is anti-cop, who literally took a photo with a co-conspirator of the first World Trade bombing. Piers, I would laugh in your face, but guess what? The joke is on me. And I'm telling you right now, Piers, it's almost as if The Dark Knight, the movie, Bane is there. Bane is going to be Mamdani, and you wait to see what he's going to do.
The orcs are in the Shire.
To the city. Okay, and Piers, let me back up a little bit. Shame on the Republicans, first and foremost.
True.
They couldn't pick one good, energetic, pro-American patriot to run.
Completely right. He's completely right.
Offense to Curtis Silva, but he's too old. He's too boring. All right, the campaign was horrible. Piers, and guess what? No American's going to vote for a guy with a red beret. I'm sorry. That's number one. Number two, Democrats. All they had was
Andrew Cuomo, a generational alleged sex offender. Oh, he was convicted, right?
Up to go against this guy, Piers, was a failed mayor, Eric Adams, who made it a sanctuary city, brought in all the illegals, crime went up, gave them money, gave them credit cards, put them in hotels, and then was like, whoops, I'm sorry I made a mistake. It was the Democrat leadership that made me do it. Cut to Andrew Cuomo, okay? Talk about a governor that failed. The alleged sex scandal, whatever you want to call it, and then he killed how many thousands?
Around 15,000 old people were killed in old age homes under his watch, allegedly.
Thousands of poor old grandmothers and grandfathers did he kill in New York?
That was the competition. That's why I said, like we deserved this, man. You know, we deserved this.
And guess when he apologized, Piers? Not 2 years after, not 3 years, the day of the election. He goes, I'm sorry, I messed up. All right, which is absolutely horseshit. And I'm sorry for my language, Piers, but New York is going to get a taste of their medicine. I hate to say it, Piers, but sometimes you got to let the kid touch the iron and let him burn himself until he learns his lesson, and they're going to learn their lesson in about 1 or 2 years. You'll see, Piers.
Yep,
facts. Like I thought, you're jubilant about what's happened. Let me go to Aaron. You were making a few expressions there as Vinny was unleashing. I mean, from my point of view, it's very interesting because you've got results last night, which overall, a lot of wins for the Democrats, obviously, which is a good thing if you're a Democrat supporter. But two very distinct types of win. You've got the moderates winning, and then you've got Mamdani winning in New York, who's a self-declared socialist. These are very different pathways for the party to go. Many people feel that it's going to be problematic to have someone like Mamdani, who is incredibly charismatic, rapidly becoming the face of the party, but a bit like with AOC and the others on the left, in a general election, highly unlikely to succeed with that kind of agenda. What do you think?
I think the people of New York showed that Mamdani is in touch with the grassroots of the Democratic Party and the majority of the country. If you can get past it.
Mamdani literally won on the retard scale. No one that voted for Mamdani even knew what they were voting for. He literally just got the completely retarded college kids to vote for him that had no clue. Like, this is a brain-dead take. Actual brain-dead take. Insane. Like, you watch people interviewing the people that voted for Mamdani, don't even know what they're voting for. They're just like, well, he's young and he's funny and he smiles and he likes immigrants. And that's it. He said free stuff and they voted for it. He got the empathy vote from 80% of young liberal white women. The Karenocracy did it. They collaborated with, for the record, 1.5 million Muslims in New York City that all voted. So no, this isn't grassroots Democrat at all.
Fear-mongering we heard from Benny about Mamdani being a terrorist sympathizer and all the other smears.
He is a terrorist sympathizer. It's not fear-mongering. That's just the fact. It's just a fact. He literally said that suicide bombers should be treated like soldiers because it's a valid military action. Like, he supports Hamas. You know, the Hamas terrorists that started the war in Gaza. Like, he does all these. He is a terrorist supporter. Absolutely. He supported the terrorists that murdered the British soldier in England. There was a Muslim guy that just beheaded a British soldier on the street of England, and he praised him. He said it was valid military maneuver because England is an imperial state. Like, yeah, no, actually.
That are used to dismiss his progressive agenda. He's not. He's just someone who believes that Palestinians are equal human beings.
This has nothing to do with Palestinians. Nothing to do with Palestinians. Everyone likes making it that like, everyone tries their best to do this. It's like, oh, you're only calling him a terrorist sympathizer because he likes Palestinians. It has absolutely nothing to do with Palestinians. If 9/11 happens and the first thing you say is that your aunt, Zoran Mamdani's aunt, got bad looks on the subway for her hijab, instead of mentioning the fact that 3,000 people were murdered on that day, like, nah, dude, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's insane. That's absolutely insanity.
For people devoted to the state of Israel, they can't understand that concept.
Bro, it has nothing to do with Palestinians.
They're Jewish supremacists, so they've internalized Jewish supremacy.
Jewish supremacists.
Everybody else understands that in this era of Democrats and Republicans supporting a genocide, supporting an assault on working people, someone like Mamdani is a reasonable alternative. Yes, he calls himself a democratic socialist. If you look at his policies, they're incredibly moderate. He wants to establish free buses for working people. He wants to freeze the rent in rent-stabilized apartments.
Who pays for the free buses? I mean, someone has to pay the bus driver, right? Someone has to pay for the bus. Someone has to pay for the gas. Who's paying for all that? It's a free bus, right? So who's paying for all that? Mr. Moderate. What are you talking about? Like he wants to freeze the rent. You realize freezing the rent means that the landlords are never going to actually fix any of the apartments, right? Like, you do realize that in freezing the rent doesn't actually help. Freezing the rent just means the landlord's not going to do anything.
Wants to provide universal child care. All these policies are wildly popular.
Universal child care means that someone's paying for it.
But the difference is, and what's
you know who's paying for it? White people, because he wants to tax white neighborhoods higher than black neighborhoods.
Radical about him is that he's centering working people. He's talking about issues that actually impact average people's lives. Donald Trump promised to do all the things that Mamdani has talked about, but he hasn't. He's just delivered for his billionaire backers and the cabinet.
Billionaire backers. Meanwhile, Zoran Mamdani got $40 million from George Soros. Like, these people, like, you are such a fraud. I don't know who this guy is, but this is unbelievable.
That backs them up. So Mamdani, unlike everybody else pretty much in U.S. politics, with some exceptions, is actually speaking to average people's needs, including on the issue of Israel-Palestine, where people were just fed up with both parties supporting genocide in Gaza.
Okay, Martin Hill.
If you don't mind me, Pierce, can I just...
What does electing a mayor of New York have to do with genocide in Gaza? Not that there's a genocide in Gaza, but like, what are we even talking about? Like, there's a genocide happening, therefore we're electing a radical Islamist terrorist-supporting communist in New York City to be the mayor? Like, do you realize how retarded this is? Like, what are we even talking about?
Okay, can I just say one thing?
Quickly, yeah.
Did he not take a photo with the co-conspirator of the first World Trade bombing? Did he not take a photo with that? Hold on, smiling, and I'm pretty sure you didn't say anything. And all that stuff that you said, all that cool free
I'll
stuff.
respond. Yes.
Who's gonna pay for it? Who is gonna pay for it? I'm just curious. By the way, and show me one time that this has worked. Venezuela, Cuba, Soviet Union. Give me an example. Give me a case study. And hold on, don't smile. I'll come with you. I'm all in. Show me when it worked, and I'll buy it. I'll buy it. Go ahead. Give it to me.
To answer your questions in order, in the course of campaigning where candidates take pictures with literally thousands of people, he appeared in one photo with someone who was identified.
He went to that guy, Saraj Wahaj, or whatever his name is. He went to that guy's mosque to take a picture with him in his mosque. It was not an accident that he bumped into him on the street and didn't recognize him. That's one. Two, he did collab with Hassan Piker, the America Deserved 9/11 guy. The guy that openly supports Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis. The guy that openly says you should kill Senator Rick Scott. Like, what are you talking about?
As an unindicted co-conspirator in a bombing he was never even charged for. So yes, people take photo ops all the time.
Yeah.
Andrew, excuse me.
Unindicted meaning what? He was in the room.
Excuse me.
Give me a break, bro.
I'm answering your question.
That's not what that means.
Andrew Cuomo is taking pictures with actual war criminals, unlike Zoran Mamdani, who rejects the endorsement. In terms of how he's going to pay for it, he's already said he's going to tax the ultra wealthy a little bit more.
It's literally not just the ultra wealthy. He wants to tax everyone that has more than $1 million, 52%. And he wants to aim specifically at white neighborhoods.
Make all the money in the world. That's who he's going to pay for his popular social programs. He's not proposing anything like we've seen in Cuba.
He literally just wants the people that work to pay for the social programs for the people that don't work. He just literally wants to funnel people from the native, white American guys that lived in America for generations, and he wants to take their money and give it, or Jewish Americans, they're also counted as white neighborhoods in this regard. Jews are funny because, like, on the right they're not considered white, but on the left they are considered white. So it's Jews and white people that essentially are the richest people in New York, and they want to basically take money from them and give it to the illegal immigrants and the Muslims. It's actually pretty obvious if you think about it.
And guess who's leaving? Guess who the mass exodus is going to be? Guess who the mass... And just out of curiosity, they're going to leave. Hold on, you know what? You're not...
I actually spoke to my grandfather about this. My grandfather, he lives in New York. He's a Holocaust survivor. He's 100 years old. I love him so much. He's a wonderful man. So I spoke to him about Zoran Mamdani, his new mayor. I said, well, like, what do you think? And he said, I survived Hitler. We'll make it through a Zoran Mamdani. Dude, he's the GOAT. He's the GOAT. I love him, man. He literally told me that today. Insane, bro.
Talk about who is gonna come to New York. Who's gonna come to New York? He wants to let people out of prisons. Okay, think about it. He wants to give away free stuff. Hold on, and he's pro-illegal. What the hell's gonna happen to New York?
He's completely right. It's insane. He got one right-wing guy and 3 leftoids. Piers Morgan, what are you doing?
You're missing the whole point.
People like you, okay, Benny, listen, people like you want to give away free stuff to foreign governments like Israel to slaughter innocent civilians.
Why do you put words in people's mouths? No one supports giving infinite money to foreign nations, okay? That's a government thing. The government does that shtick, all right? Look, I'm Jewish. I think what Israel is doing is largely justified in many aspects. Obviously, they went really hard, but, they wanted to get their people back while they were literally there. I don't support the foreign aid, all right? Like, you have to understand the insanity here. No, I don't support the giving infinite money to countries around the world, even though that I think Israel fighting a war that the other guy started in order to get their people back is justified, all right? That's my stance. I think what Israel wanted to get their hostages back in a war that was started by people that tried to eradicate them is valid. That said, I don't want to send the infinite foreign aid. I really hate that. And that's everywhere. So no, you've got to stop.
When have I ever said I'm pro-Israel? When have I ever said that?
Listen,
don't put words in my mouth.
By adopting this earth.
I pray for the innocent women and children of Palestine. Don't put words in my mouth today. You don't know me, but I know this spiel. And you have to bring up Donald Trump. You always, and this is the problem here, why these people have no leaders, no vision, no message, because for 8 years, you've been saying Trump, and when the dust settles, you have nobody.
I mean, to be fair, Trump did win 3 elections,
Time out, guys, time out. I want to bring in, we've got 2 other panel members. I want to bring them in. Martin Hill. you know, here's the things about Mamdani which I like. He's very charismatic. He's got a very clear identity, I think, about what he stands for. He's an unashamed.
Yep. We know what he stands for, all right. Yep. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Radical jihadist, Islamist, socialist. Yep, we know. You know he got an endorsement from ISIS? Did you know that ISIS released an endorsement for Zoran Mamdani? Did you know that Hamas congratulated him on his victory? Did you know that?
Socialist, so he just says, this is what I am. Something admirable about someone who says, these are my political colours. That's fine. I may not agree with it.
Yep, it's true. I showed that in my previous video. You watched my live Zoran video.
He's an Arsenal fan, a very big Arsenal fan. He's been talking about it this morning. So he's clearly got immaculate taste when it comes to his football teams. But here's the issue, isn't it, Mark? For the party, I think, it's if he turns out to be a massive success in New York.
He's an asshole fan? Is that what he said? I thought I heard that too, and then I saw people in my chat saying, is that what he said? He's an asshole fan? Is he gay? Well,
hallelujah. He might be the guy who ends up becoming the president, right? And the Democrat superstar. Here he is now in charge of the biggest city in the country. On a very socialist agenda, giving all this stuff away. We've kind of seen a parallel to this in the UK with the late.
Bro, if Zoran Mamdani becomes president of the United States, I am self-reporting. I'm just saying.
Labour government, who got swept in over a year ago with a massive majority, and it's already crumbling at the seams. They're about to launch a massive tax raid on pretty much everybody. They're incredibly unpopular, and it's all gone pear-shaped very, very quickly. If that happens with Mamdani in New York, conversely, it becomes a referendum on the Democrats that their big star turned out to be, you know, a wolf in sheep's clothing. Yeah. When was the last time the couldn't seafood? You can. I mean, I believe that the sponsoring this.
Wow, that wolf in sheep's clothing would be a bit of a leap, even if he were somehow not successful. But I think that.
No, wolf in sheep's clothing I think is incredibly apt. I mean, can I predict something for you? I predict that in 4 years, by the end of his term, the rate of rape in New York will double, at least. That's my prediction. All right? That's my prediction. The rape rate will be more than double by the end of his term.
There are a few issues on the table here. One, we continue to call him a socialist, and I think it's important to reiterate that he identifies as a democratic socialist, right? And there are different types of socialism, and democratic socialism does not support the abolition of private property. It is.
He literally said he wants to seize the means of production. He said he wants to seize housing. I don't care what label he puts himself. And if that dude is born with a penis and he calls himself a woman, now I have to live his worldview. He identifies as not gay and retarded, actually. You've got to stop, man.
Not saying that there's no democratic election. Many of the kind of
He literally said abolition of private housing.
Man, references that are made to socialism don't apply to Mamdani's vision or his self-identification any more than it does to AOC or any more than it does to Bernie Sanders. I think one of the things we've learned in the last few years is that Democrats have played it far too safe. They're not.
They're killing us. Too safe, man. What are we talking about, dude? What are we played it too safe? They are literally killing us and celebrating, and killing us and celebrating again. I don't even know what to say, man. I made this tweet, and I think it's real. Trump was almost assassinated, and the leftists were sad the shooter missed. Luigi Mangione murdered a man in cold blood, became a hero. Charlie Kirk was assassinated, and leftists celebrated his murder. Virginia Attorney General candidate fantasized about murdering conservatives and their little fascist children to receive waves of support and no condemnation. Zoran Mamdani allies himself with terrorists and became the mayor of New York City. Activist judges are releasing violent repeat offenders and rioters that assault police officers from prisons. They want to kill you, not just on the fringe. It is the mainstream winning strategy. Plan accordingly. And I got death threats for that tweet. Isn't that hilarious? Isn't that hilarious? I called them out for wanting to kill us, and then I get death threats.
Speaking to people's needs. They're not speaking to people's interests. Speaking to the fact that people need the rent to stay stable, that they need access to...
I'm going to say something not nice, because to be honest, the rent situation is a nightmare. They could leave New York, right? They could literally leave New York. There are so many cheaper places to live in the United States. There are so many options. You could leave New York. That's one. Two, you could get a job. You really could. I know that the average salary is like, 40, 50,000, whatever. But the reality is, It doesn't have to be. Did you know that the average person that leaves college is in debt? The average Gen Z guy that leaves college is over $100,000 in debt. The average person in that age range, why? $1,000 in debt so you can get a degree in underwater surprise butt sex in South Dakota? What are we talking about? Literally, what are you talking about?
Food, clothing, and shelter. That's what Mamdani is doing. And if for some reason he were not to be successful, didn't have a great mayoral administration, I don't think it would be fair to say that I see that as a referendum on his ideology any more than all the other unsuccessful mayors and governors around the country or presidents around the country and the world who have had unsuccessful campaigns as capitalists and imperialists and fascists. We don't say, oh, maybe we should try something different. Sometimes it's about changing the driver, and sometimes it's about changing the direction. What we saw in New York last night was that, you know,
did you literally just decide to puff up his chest and say that it's not his fault if he fails? How could you take these people seriously? It's not his fault if he fails.
They want to do both. They want a new leadership, but they also want a new vision. And I think that that's something that Democrats should follow, because the way they've been working so far has not been working.
Okay, Lily, the thing that I would be concerned about if I was Donald Trump and the Republicans is that the running theme behind all the successes the Democrats have.
Cool that he has the Palestine flag on his shirt. He's calling Trump a fascist when, you know, the Palestinians in Gaza literally elected Hamas to execute gay people and execute their own people and starve their own people if they disagree with them, or, you know, stuff. It is funny to me.
Had last night was affordability. And there's no doubt the cost of living crisis coming out of the pandemic, inflation continuing. You know, Trump can claim some wins in bringing some prices down, others not so good. But this ongoing running sword of the standard of living for people in the bottom bracket of society in America is not going away. You know, people feel angry enough now to vote for people who they think are going to tackle as a priority affordability. It's been very striking to me that Mamdani, he doesn't want to get involved much in foreign affairs. He wants to focus specifically on the ability of really impoverished New Yorkers who can't afford their groceries, can't afford to rent a home, and so on.
Did you care about that, or did he just use that as a ploy to get their attention when in reality he wants something far more nefarious?
That has been something that's resonated. There's no doubt about that.
Mark, respectfully, it's great to be here with you, but I gotta address some of the claims that you made. This guy literally said he wants to seize the means of production, okay? Slapping a communist label on him just for shits and giggles. He literally said this himself. As someone who has fundraised for Democrats who's been in the game for a very long time, I can tell you that politicians at a high level, they vet every single person in the room. You better believe that no random person can just take a photo with Kamala Harris or Joe Biden. We vetted them. Someone actually who owed $40,000 to the IRS booted out of the room because they didn't want him to be seen with Joe Biden, okay? So this is not just, this is very intentional.
Yeah, I can't believe that guy even tried to use that as an argument. But I still can't believe this guy even tried to use it as an argument. Yeah, he took a picture with the co-conspirator of the bombing, but like, he takes pictures with lots of people, actually. Oh, wow.
And it's hard for you to say, oh, it was just some random dude who showed up. And not only did he take a photo with him, he decided to compliment him. That was a conscious decision. But here's going back to what you said. He did a good job.
Because he supports terrorism. That's actually why.
Campaigning on affordability, yes. Well, I also want to remind folks that we were heading in the right direction. So much so that Jerome Powell decided to lower interest rates not once but twice. So it takes a long time to bounce back from the mess that Joe Biden got us in, but we are moving in the right direction. And frankly, I know, Vinny, I love you to death, babe. I know you're upset about this, but I think this is the biggest gift for Republicans that we could...
Honestly, I think she's kind of on point. I said the same thing. There's a silver lining here. Yeah, New York is going to become a shithole, and the rate is probably going to double. But this is gonna radicalize some motherfuckers. It's gonna wake some people up.
Possibly hope for, because
a lot of Americans are not willing to look at what's happening in England and realize we're just a couple years away. We're a decade away from England to happen to us. People don't want to pay attention, but now people are gonna.
Honestly, Marxist Mamdani, Rashida Tlaib, AOC, Jasmine Crockett, these people being the face of the Democratic Party is exactly what I want to run on going into 2026.
Damn.
Okay, I want to just hold. Let me just hold the panel there. Let me hold the panel for a moment.
Yeah, because
I'm going to come back to the panel in a moment. I want to just bring in Frank Luntz, the pollster extraordinaire. Frank, your take on last night. I thought it was a very interesting set of results. Obviously, overall, a good night for the Democrats, but pulling in two very, very different directions. Moderates and then the socialist in New York.
The race, to me, that was by far the most important, didn't even feature a candidate. It was the ballot initiative in California, which some of your audience won't know much about, but that's going to allow the Democrats to completely rewrite the borders, the districts, the lines that will determine which voters vote in which areas. And that's going to give the Democrats 5 or maybe even 6 additional House seats.
50.
Now, Republicans had done it before in Texas. Democrats had a really bright, smart usage of language on the ballot to help them win that race, but it wasn't even close. And Pierce, that shift may well determine who controls Congress in 2026, and that's going to change history as we know it. That was the most significant race. I know it doesn't get the kind of yelling, the kind of passion that the New York mayoral race does, but I'm telling you that the California voters have absolutely changed, have uprooted what was going to happen in America, and that's going to be the big story that we're going to be talking about for months and even for years.
Yeah, really, really interesting. I don't disagree with you at all. It's a seismic thing that happened in California, but on the point about the direction of the Democrat Party, Mamdani is now the standout superstar of the party. He's come from nowhere, and he's like this incredible...
No, that's not true. He's from Uganda, actually. That's where he came from.
To be charismatic.
Right with their bare hands there.
Watch his speech.
They shovel it into their mouth like slop. It's pretty good and awesome.
Last night, he's taking it to Trump and so on. You know, I can see a lot of young Democrats in particular cheering him on, thinking this is great. But his politics are very, very different. For example, to somebody like Abigail Bamberger, who won in Virginia. Which way is the party going to go? Which is more electable? Can you win a general election in America, you think, if you are a self-declared socialist?
Absolutely not. And the party's going in both directions. And the progressives...
I mean, to be fair, the right is also splitting. Like, we're really moving into a really weird time. Like, I'm not gonna lie, the two-party system in America might actually crumble. The two-party system is on the edge of destruction.
Great win yesterday, and a significant win. And they finally have a spokesman who's incredibly articulate and powerful. And that helps the Bernie Sanders AOC wing of the party. The one who's probably most upset this morning is Chuck Schumer, because his Democratic Party is disappearing. On the Republican side, the party is no longer the party of Ronald Reagan. It's all about Donald Trump and his accolades. Both parties are moving in those directions away from the center. And in the end, there are going to be more and more Americans who look at both Republicans and Democrats and say, I can't vote for any of you. But Piers, you know I've been on this now for several years.
Yep.
I think the loser last night isn't the Republican Party. It's actually the American people. Because I see both parties rejecting the center, both parties rejecting a common sense approach and moving in these ideological directions. That does fire people up.
I don't know, man. I think Trump needs to sit tight and become even more radical. He needs to get up there and be like, we are deporting fucking everyone. That's right. I don't care. I'm sorry. I don't care if you're in Venezuela. You're here illegally, you're out. Everyone that tries to stop a police officer, jail. Every communist that tries to influence us with communist propaganda, denaturalized and deported. I want to see the law followed 100%. That's what I want. I want 100% brutal, completely legal law and order. So Zoran Mamdani, if you radicalize Trump, I will thank you forever.
It does excite younger people and excite people on the fringes. But in the end, there's so many Americans who believe that our democracy is not working anymore, as they do in the UK. And they believe that they're looking for someone with common sense, someone who is a centrist. And this is not necessarily where I stand. This is where the American people stand.
I think he's not wrong that this is where a lot of the American people stand. The reality, though, is I don't think that this is a solution. Because you have one party that's trying to do the status quo. The right is really trying to status quo this shit. You know, close the borders, deport the illegals, not really deal with, arresting judges and whatever. And then you get the other party that literally is trying to steal democracy by opening the borders, flooding our country with millions of illegals, that will steal every election for the rest of time. So it's, in my opinion, not a fair fight, and Trump needs to step up his game. All right, activist judges that are releasing criminals, disbarred immediately. What are you doing?
And they don't see anyone speaking for them.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. Do you see anybody on...
And again, people like mentioning Nick Fuentes and chat and stuff because he says like the Hail Hitler stuff. I personally, if I walk out of my door one day and I am murdered, and I am assassinated, it will be by a leftist before it will be by a Groyper. And it's not even remotely close. And it will not be the fucking Groypers celebrating my murder, it will be the leftists. Just to kind of make this clear, where we're standing in society. And it's really not even a controversial statement to say that.
The horizon for the Democrats, for example, that would fit that bill, a new Bill Clinton-y figure?
Absolutely. Cory Booker, the senator from New Jersey. Wes Moore, the governor of Maryland. Mitch Landrieu, the former mayor of New Orleans. These are people who focus on getting stuff done. Booker was formerly the mayor of New York to turn that city around. And they have a record of accomplishment, a record of results, which is what the American people are looking for. And they practice accountability in what they do. They're not focused on Washington. They're not ideological. They will not come on this show and yell at each other. They would come to listen, learn, and lead. 3 Democrats that can make a difference. I'm going to repeat this so people check them out. Go on to YouTube to see their speeches. Go to Wikipedia to see their backgrounds. Cory Booker, New Jersey. Wes Moore, Maryland. And Mitch Landrieu, Louisiana.
Yeah, these guys suck. None of them have a chance. Like, it's really nice that he's trying his best to promote these guys. None of them have any prayer. None of them are going to become recognized. Speaking of Cory Booker, he was absolutely humiliated a few days ago. And I'm going to show it to you. So fuck that guy.
I'll be working every day to ensure Jay wins this race. That's the endorsement of Senator Booker for a man who would seek to be the Attorney General of Virginia.
My buddy from Daily Wire, Michael Knowles, was called to the Capitol to testify about politically motivated violence. And here he is with some wise words for Cory Booker, a man who once didn't urinate for 18 hours.
I think Senator Booker made a good point just a moment ago when he said we have to self-examine, we have to be introspective. And, I can't help but think of a line today. Jay Jones has the vision, commitment, and integrity to keep families safe and make sure every Virginian gets a fair shake in the justice system. I'll be working every day to ensure Jay wins this race. That's the endorsement of Senator Booker for a man who would seek to be the Attorney General of Virginia. This is a man who, if people have not been reading the news, has called for a Republican to be murdered, for his children to be murdered, for the children to die in their mother's arms in order to persuade the Republican to change his policy views, and a man who says that he would urinate on the graves of multiple Republicans. Senator Booker, in this spirit of introspection, is standing by this endorsement. So I suppose I would invite, perhaps I should have looked, because Senator Booker has left the room, and I think I can guess why.
Diabolical.
I mean, Knowles really has become
Is that not insane?
an eloquent...
Is that not absolutely insane? Is that not just utter insanity? He calls out Senator Booker, and Senator Booker gets up and leaves the room so he doesn't have to address the fact that he endorsed a guy fantasizing about murdering Republican babies? Unbelievable. Just absolute insanity, dude.
Incredible leaders, focused on results. And I know I sound like a Democrat, but I know that that's what the American people are looking for right now.
Putting your predictive hat on, take you forward to the midterm and then the general election. So 2026 first, then 2028. As things stand, what do you think is going to happen in both?
I've studied this. I know what history says. And history says the Democrats are going to win the House races, maybe not the Senate, because the majority is too much in favor of the Republicans. But after last night in California, voting the way that it did, if I were a betting man, I'd bet on the Democrats winning the House very narrowly, Republicans keeping the Senate very narrowly, and the country once again going at each other. And we're going to have the most amazing election in 2028. You were entertained by 2020 and a little bit scared.
The 2028 election is going to change the course of the country forever. It really will.
About 2024, 2028 is going to be like The Godfather 2. It's going to be even better than what we saw in terms of competitiveness. My concern is whether or not it's better in terms of bringing voters back in, having them have faith, trust, and confidence in the American political system. Because in the end, Pierce, ratings don't matter. In order to be viewed, they don't matter for America. Money doesn't matter. Happiness matters. Success matters. Trust. trust and confidence in the system of government. Our patriotism matters, and our country matters. And I'm hoping that we will put people, truly, not a slogan, put people above politics in the years to come.
Yeah, no one's gonna do that. That's like rhythm in a band. That's not happening. JD Vance will win next election.
And finally, do you expect Donald Trump to try and change the rules so he can run again in 2028, or is he just following the religion?
It's gonna be bad.
I fully expect him to talk about it. I fully expect him not to do it. It is so clear what needs to be done, and there isn't enough time to get it done, but he wants to stay relevant. And I know that you and I have had these conversations now for about 10, 15 years. I know I sound different than what I used to, but we're in a different situation than what we used to be in. And I would hope that the president would acknowledge that things are very difficult for a lot of people, that they're challenged. The Democrats on your show who talked about affordability. That's your message. That is absolutely correct. If you can't afford your home and can't afford your health care, you can't even afford your fuel or your food, you're in trouble. And we need these people working together for all of us so that this affordability is addressed, this confidence is restored, and in the end, we have the country and the system that we deserve.
Frank Luntz, brilliant to have you on after such a big night tonight. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Biden. You killed us. Good stuff, as always. This dude really thinks we're gonna kumbaya our way out of this when leftists are literally murdering people on the right and everyone's celebrating? Do you really think we're gonna kumbaya out of this when Ukraine is fucking murdering us? Like, it's insane. Like, it definitely sounds nice, but like,
I think he's recognizing that Republicans have a real problem. Donald Trump campaigned successfully on the problem of affordability, the price of eggs, the price of other staples, but he's come to office, and what has he done? He's cut Medicaid. He's now providing over a government shutdown in which 40...
He hasn't cut Medicaid. He's literally stopped Medicaid for illegals and fraudsters. These people just lie.
2 million people who need SNAP benefits to get food are being denied.
SNAP benefits literally because the Democrats shut down the government. Like, it is unbearable watching this line. It's unbearable. Like, that problem of false witness. Is there any of the 10 commandments that these guys don't violate? Any of the 10?
I did, because of his party's refusal to extend health care subsidies for millions.
Literally, the Democrats voted to shut down the government 13 times in a row. 13 times in a row. And then they go out and blame Trump. You've got to stop. This is retarded.
Of people. And what is he offering people that we promised that he'd make America great again? Nothing. He just recently...
Well, that's actually not true. If it worked all illegal, America would be a lot greater.
Bragged about how he's redecorating the White House, built a new bathroom. How does that help average people? And that's the fundamental problem. Trump successfully tapped into real discontent. I'll give him credit for that. He tapped into real outrage over Democratic Party elite failures.
It's working pandemic, that's how we do it.
But now you have someone in the face of Zohar Mamdani and his grassroots movement actually talking about the issue of affordability while presenting concrete proposals. And I think
there are no concrete proposals. Who is this guy? This dude literally wants some fucking communist cockdown. This is unbearable. He hasn't said a single truth.
Frank Luntz is very correct to recognize that for Republicans, who are the current party in power, they control the White House and both chambers of Congress, that this is a real problem for them. And by the way, also, here's if I may, on this issue of this pastor who keeps coming up, this Muslim leader who's Zohar Mamdani took a photo with, again, if you look at the specifics of that case, he was an unindicted co-conspirator, former terrorism prosecutor, later criticized his inclusion in a list in that case because basically some of the suspects in the World Trade Center bombing attended his mosque around the time of the bombing. So that's like basically
this is the hill you choose to die on. You are
let me finish my sentence.
They're both leftists, ladies and gentlemen. They will die on the hill of defending the co-conspirators of bombing.
That's like, excuse my sentence. I'll finish my sentence. I'll finish my sentence. That's like, excuse me. I'll finish. I didn't interrupt you. I'll finish my sentence. That's like blaming the pastor of George W. Bush's church for the Iraq War. And these are the smears of people who can't contend.
Oh my God! You cannot be serious. Look, I don't want to sound Islamophobic here or anything, but these dudes literally work together on this shit. You've got to stop. Like, I'm sorry, man. Wake the fuck up.
The fact that you have a candidate in Zohar Mamdani who has grassroots support, record turnout.
For the record, the reason why I don't want to sound Islamophobic is I don't want Zoran Mamdani's aunt to watch this and get offended. But holy
Standing people on the issues that impact their lives.
I think there's even
conspirator meaning they can't prove that he was in the room, but he was in the room.
No, they can't prove it. It's a red herring. Give it up.
Are you literally trying to stick up? Are you really trying to stick up for this guy? Are you really trying to stick up for this guy? And Pierce, this is perspective.
Yes, I am. And so is my wife's boyfriend.
Yes, I am.
The soy crash out I needed today.
Yes, I am. We're desperately trying.
I'm very desperate. Pierce, mind you, on Sunday, Mamdani was in a gay club, pandering to the gay people to try to get votes. And let me explain something. People are like,
what do you mean pandering?
Also, by the way, pandered with the person that promoted the execution of homosexuals in Sudan. Somewhere. He was literally collabing with, I showed this in my Zoran video. He was out there, collabing with gay people to get the gay vote. And then he went out there to the Uganda lady. To the Uganda lady that is the one that promoted the execution of gay people.
What do you mean? What do you mean pandering to gay people? He's trying to campaign.
Just right now because there's something. You know where he's from? Uganda. Do you know how Uganda treats gay people? Have you been to Uganda? Have you heard what Ugandans do?
Is Zoran responsible for
he's a Muslim dude from there.
I wish that Vinny over here would hit a little bit harder. He campaigned with the Ugandan lady that introduced the death penalty for gay people. That is another level.
What he's practicing, Piers, practicing is called taqiyya, okay? It's a practice in Islam, all right, Piers, that you deceive and you lie about stuff just to have people to further your agenda. You're being
hang on. Just because he's from Uganda doesn't mean he agrees with all the policies.
I hate these frauds, man. They're all idiots. Why do I, the blue retard, have to be the one to do the research? Why do I have to be the one to do the research for this? This is Zoran Mamdani campaigning with the lady who made being gay punishable by death in Uganda. Okay? This is Zoran Mamdani campaigning in a gay club. So yes, if you're gonna spend 1 minute campaigning in a gay club and then another minute campaigning with the lady who introduced the death penalty to gay people, yeah, that makes you a snake, obviously.
Ugandan government.
He's Muslim, Pierce. He's Muslim. How do Muslim people feel towards gays? Are you guys lost? Are you lost?
Well, there are many Muslims who have no problem with gays.
That's Muslim, bro. That's a Muslim.
Yeah, but there are many Muslims who...
I wish that he would argue this better. I really do. I wish he would argue it better.
A couple of facts here, because this is all really...
hang on. Let me bring in Mark and then Lindy. Mark.
Okay, a couple of things, just to inject some facts. One, taqiyya isn't about lying. Taqiyya is about concealing your faith as Muslim to get over the whole, ostensibly in times of danger. At no point...
Defending taqiyya? Taqiyya is about manipulating people that are non-Muslim. There's no way.
As Mamdani pretended not to be Muslim. If he had, you wouldn't be here arguing. Second, let me finish. Second, yes, he's from where Muslims, where gay people often are harassed and killed, and there are anti-gay policies in Uganda. You know who they're organized by? Christians, not Muslims. If you just Google or read one book on Uganda, you'd understand that this is a Christian practice, not a Muslim practice. Third, when we talk about Siraj Wahaj, who's the imam who he was in the photo with, there's absolutely no evidence that he was in the room with 9/11 conspirators. That's not even being alleged by the prosecutor.
We're not even talking about 9/11. We're talking about the bombing.
Please allow me to finish.
World Trade number 1.
Please allow me to finish. I accidentally said as opposed to World Trade Center. That's not the point. I concede. I said the wrong word. Now I'm going to replace the wrong word with the right word, which is World Trade Center. The point still is the prosecutors don't allege that Wahaj was in the room. So there's no evidence of that, even by the people who you're appealing to for evidence. Wahaj took a picture. A better comparable example would be when Donald Trump took the picture with Joey Merlino, the convicted mob boss, right? He did it because he didn't know who Joey Merlino was. So that's why
who he was. Why are we doing this? Stop panicking, bro. We knew Why are these guys running defense for terrorists? Is that just the new mainstay of the Democratic Party? Is the new mainstay of the Democrats just literally running defense for terrorists? Like, bro, you've got to stop.
All right, Mark. I don't want to spend.
Not a terrorist.
I don't want to spend.
Iman is celebrating Brooklyn prison for his action in the community, and that's what he's being.
If I'm the time out, guys, hang on. I think we've discussed this particular part of the Mamdani story enough.
There's so many parts to it. Globalizing the all right? It's him collabing with Hassan Piker when you hear what he supports and what he says constantly. It's this Siraj Wahhaj guy. It's the England situation. A lot of people don't even talk about this because there's so many. I think this one, by the way, is one of the most damning because he directly said it. This is just him being around someone. This is direct support. Let me see if I can find this. It's one of the most evil things ever. Yeah, right here. I wish these people were more on top of this. Well, why do they need blue rings on? The next potential mayor of New York, he is now the mayor, shared an article questioning whether the Islamic beheading of a British soldier in England was terrorism. Important, whether the London killing of a British soldier was terrorism, where he makes the argument that actually this guy, this radical Muslim, beheading a British soldier in England was actually not terrorism. Clean guard. All right? This dude flirts with terrorism constantly. And it's more than flirting. And you're being disingenuous if you think that's not true. That was years ago? Yeah. He's been supporting terrorism for years.
Here's the thing that I find extraordinary, and it's this thing, which is he's on record, Mamdani, as wanting to defund the New York.
Yes, thank you, Pierce.
And calling them a bunch of racists. I would have thought, I mean, call me old-fashioned, but anybody that literally posted that the racist NYPD should be defunded, that would be disqualifying to be mayor of New York. And yet here he is, mayor of New York.
Why would that be disqualifying?
Pierce,
why would that be disqualifying?
I don't know. Looks like this guy's sticking up for the 13%.
Say defund the NYPD.
Absolutely.
What's the answer to the question?
Mark, it's my turn.
Let Lindy go first, and I'll let you respond.
I'm not cutting you off. I'm asking a question.
Please, let me finish. 40% of unsolved murders. This is New York City, the biggest city in the country, and 40% of murders have been unsolved. And he wants to defund the police? Yeah, okay. And then according to some studies, 25% of New York, they want to flee because of his policies, okay? He's on a way to hell. And another thing is, Mark, I felt like I was talking to...
and it's actually the successful people that want to leave. It's not the bottom feeders of society.
What's his name? Frank Luntz? I felt like I was listening to a new age therapist. Like, is he crazy? He wants to put forward people like Wes Moore and Cory Booker. Let's go through his people. Like, for example, Cory Booker tried the presidential campaign thing already. He was polling at 1 to 2%. Okay, so we already tried that. The trial balloon failed. Number 2, Wes Moore. He lied about getting a Bronze Star. These are the people that Frank Luntz wants to be the face of the Democratic Party? Then please, sounds good to me. And then he talks about the importance of Prop 50. Yes, it's important, but I also think it's a gift to Republicans because in this case, it allows Republicans to tie Gavin Newsom's failed policies to him. There's no way to disentangle the two. We are now able to tie $7 per gallon gas to Gavin Newsom. We can tie homeless encampments all across the state to Gavin Newsom. And you know what, Gavin Newsom, this is all about him running for 2028. This wasn't about the people of California. This was
it may be. Hang on, don't talk. Hang on. Okay, I'll come to you, Mark, in a moment. But Vinny, I did find, Mark was asking me, well, what's wrong with saying defund the NYPD? I think a lot. If somebody was running for mayor of London on a ticket of defund the Metropolitan Police, I would think that's completely disqualifying.
Yeah, because you're white. You know who hates the police? You know who wants to abolish the prisons? It's the people that statistically are mostly committing the crimes and are in the prisons. It's mostly illegal immigrants, or immigrants that aren't willing to integrate, or etc., etc. You absolute cuck. Why are you not acknowledging the problem? The real problem. You've got to stop this.
Well, hang on, Mark.
Hold on, Mark. He asked me a question, Mark. What are you talking about, bro? You're the mayor of the city, and you're saying to defund the police department, and you don't think that's some crazy outlandish ish to say?
Actually not
and just to tell you, and when I tell you,
people are retarded.
Hold on, here, guys, listen.
He did say
Aaron, He did say it, and your job, Eric, your job
Not during the campaign, but it is on his
every
record.
single lie.
Yes, let him finish.
Let me explain something, Piers.
He's a good scratch at me.
Piers, a couple of
The proper term next is criminal. Yeah, criminal.
lies. He hates billionaires, right? Who funded his campaign? Soros.
There we go.
Okay? He lied about defunding the police. He said he took that back. He lied about his aunt wearing a hijab on the subway. She wasn't his aunt, and she wasn't in New York City. Hold on. And he wants to legalize prostitution. And he wants to legalize prostitution. But am I lying about that? You have to, your narrative has to stick it. You have to. Because you're full of it, bro. And the last thing, I'll give you the floor. He nailed it. Cory Booker, West, hold on. I'll give you the floor. Give me 10 seconds. Piers, you heard Frank Luntz, and Lindsay's right. They want to name all these Democrats. What's the first order of business that Newsom, Cory Booker, Westworld are all going to do? Number one, they're going to open up the border because they love illegals. Okay, that's going to be number one. So every American that's watching this, don't get it twisted. Okay, the moment a Democrat comes into power, the border's wide open. What are you going to do? Nothing, because nobody in your family is getting freaking touched by it.
All right, so everyone's getting touched by it. They're going to take over the country, not just purely due to violence. They're going to outvote the natives. I mean, that's I think part of it. Part of it is that taxing becomes impossible, job market becomes impossible, and also the reality is you're never going to win another election. And if we would have had another 4 years of Biden, we would have never had another election in America.
Okay, no, wait, don't start on. Hang on. Don't just, you all talk, no one can hear any of you. Mark the Hill, the floor is yours.
Thank you. What I'm disputing here is how we're defining, or very interestingly not defining, defunding. You all are saying defunding and laying it out there, as many people have, which would suggest that he's saying, let's get rid of the police department and take care of all of and get rid of all of its resources. That we're just going to fire the police, which is not what he's saying. If he were saying that, that probably would be disqualifying. To be fair.
So what does defund mean? Tell us what defund means.
Defunding means is taking money out of the police department.
So it is taking away their resources. Okay. Replacing the police officers with social workers. That's right. If someone's beating their wife and you call the police, they're not going to come. They'll send a social worker to your house immediately.
And placing it in other departments where that work could be done. So when you give the example of, let me finish.
Yeah, that's not defunding. That's called redistributing. It's a different word.
So when you give the example of...
Everyone's like, that's not even what the word means. When I say defund, what I really mean is hire people in different positions. No, actually.
Murders. When you give the example of unsolved murders, defunding does not affect unsolved murders in that way. In fact, to the contrary, it would help to solve murders, and I'll tell you how.
Defunding the police will help solve murders, ladies and gentlemen.
When police come out right now, and I'm only telling you this as someone who's written several books on this and has been part of the defunding movement for a decade, so you can shake your head.
Oh, you've been part of the defunding movement for a decade. This dude's retarded.
And I'm only giving you facts. You can disagree with my approach, but I'm telling you what the actual defunding movement is. When we say defunding, what we're talking about is saying, right now, if someone has a drug overdose or someone has a mental health crisis, the police get sent out there. When someone is jaywalking, the police have to stop them and give them a ticket in many cities. We're using the police as tax collectors.
Think that in the police station, they're sending people out to find jaywalkers? This isn't real. Like, this is only if a police happens to see someone jaywalking, and they usually ignore it anyway. Bro's like, I wrote a book, so now I'm gonna make up reality and you have to listen?
As therapists and as counselors, defunding says...
The police are not therapists and counselors. You're retarded, bro. What are you talking about?
Let's take some of those resources that we're making the police do for jobs that they shouldn't be doing, and let's give them to therapists, to social workers, to drug treatment counselors, and let the police focus on...
If you beat your wife, call a social worker. She'll help, or better yet, follow the tenets of Islam and beat your wife more. That's the other option, I guess, in New York. It's getting good. It's getting good.
I don't know. Policing. And so defunding...
Yeah, but he also... Mark, hang on. Mark, he also... hang on.
Bro, this dude never watched the body cam footage. I've seen body cam footage, all right? I've seen body cam footage. George Floyd needed a police officer. No amount of fat-ass social workers were going to stop George Floyd. That dude was resisting arrest. He needed a police for that. I mean, tragic that he passed away. But you needed a police to stop him, man. What are you getting? A social worker, bro? Are you kidding me? That's just wild as fuck.
I understand. No, I listened to you. You had the floor. But he also called the NYPD a racist organization. Racist.
Also, he said queer liberation.
No, hang on, Lindy. Hang on. It's much easier if everyone answers the question I pose to them. So let me just ask Mark. Mark, do you believe the NYPD is racist?
Yes! Oh my god, dude, we're still living in 2020. There is no way, bro. Dude, he is not doing well, bro. Black guy refuses, black guy condemns the police. Bro, you are not doing good here, brother. You're not doing well for your people. What am I looking at? Oh my god, this is crazy.
All of them?
Oh god, there it is.
No, there it is. This guy's a retard, radical retard. I'm telling you. And you know who runs on the same policy as this guy? Zoran Mamdani. Everyone that criticizes him must be Islamophobic. That's right. He ran on the same identity politics fucking bull.